The company has optioned Nuclear War, which hit shelves last month and examines the nuclear military establishment. This is a brand new book. Denis Villeneuve is a good director, so I think they're thinking in the right direction to pursue him to direct something like this.
There's a lot of things that they missed out on in the movie. A lot of things regarding the Kwisatz Haderach, a lot of things regarding the life cycle of the worms, and the Spacing Guild. Those were kind of the big three things that we didn't see the Spacing Guild at all, but they're very important.
Am I saying his name wrong?
It's Denis.
Denis.
Vinny. Vinny. It's Denis.
It's not Vinny.
Hey, it's Vinny.
Director Dune over here. Vinny. No, he's French. It's Denis.
Vinny. It looks like he's in.
Vinny.
They're in talks to. Hey, welcome back to the Wacky, Wonderful, Wise Works podcast, everybody. All you guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs, and Patreon members, and membership YouTube supporters. What do we call them?
It's YouTube members. That's what it's called.
YouTube members. Okay, we're adding those two tiers because we've got people now.
3 new YouTube members. Cheers to you.
Yes.
We're going to shout out one of you guys
L'chaim.
today. L'chaim. Is that what is that?
To life.
Jewish?
Yeah.
Is that Jewish?
Life.
Okay.
To life.
To life.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we love the Jews here on this show.
You can't start a podcast like that.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you can.
I'm showing love. We love the Jews. That's
As
so
a
much better
1%
than the
Italian man,
alternative.
I will accept this. But also my German side,
Okay, now you're opening up.
Yeah, Josh, freaking stop. So hey, listen. So I teased a little bit of it, and I watched the last 2 episodes of The Chosen season 4. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I came out with a video that this past week that I
That
feel like
nobody
was a
really
pretty good
watched.
video. Shut up. Give it time. Let it come out on streaming and see if people pick it up, right?
I have some critiques. We have not talked about it yet, but sure.
What critiques do you have of my video? Also,
We're not
how
going to
dare
talk
you?
about it on this podcast. It's all back end, production stuff.
How dare you? Why? Did you watch the video?
I haven't.
How dare you, Joshua? Critique me.
I mean, that's kind of my job here at Wise Works is too.
But I came up with an interesting take about the messages that's over the whole season, right?
Okay.
The main theme of the season, message wise, and I think as far as just details, do you want me to spoil anything for you guys?
No.
Yes.
No.
We both said no. Why? You have not even watched season 2. You've watched like 3 episodes of season 1.
Wyatt has
I am up to date.
I need to get into it, all right? I don't want any spoilers. No spoilers.
That's on Angel Studios, The Chosen app. I have not gone to the theater to watch anything.
Okay, so we'll just say this. We'll just say this, all right?
No,
So
spoil it for the audience, please. Give us your, you said what you thought in that video about the season as a whole as a, messaging standpoint, but you did not touch on what actually happened. How did the season end? Do
you want me to spoil it?
I mean, it's not really spoiling. We know what's happening. It's just what happened.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
It's in the Bible. Read the Bible if you don't.
Okay, freaking. All right, so this is this interesting way to end it. So Joshua was 90% correct.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
So
They're going
it's
into
actually
Jerusalem.
interesting. It's actually
Palm
interesting.
Sunday.
So they open up, I think, episode 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, episode 7 with
Palm Sunday.
David, a flashback to David entering the city after war, and they're doing the palm leaves and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
In him coming in after war. That was the footage that was in the trailer. Okay.
Kind of
that we talked
predicted
about.
that it was going to be.
However, this is what happens. So obviously Lazarus is raised.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's getting pretty intense with the emotions. Jesus is starting to say, my time is coming to an end, Some people are understanding it, some people are not. You want to go deeper on that, go to my video where I broke it all down. But how it ends is there's this, it's not a MacGuffin, but there's this storytelling element item that they added to it. And it's basically like from the time of David all the way to, since before David, all the way to Jesus, there was this thing passed down in the family lineage of a harness for a donkey or a horse, right?
Okay.
And so Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, gave it to Jesus as family heirloom, right?
Mhm.
And Jesus uses it to attach to the donkey he rides into Jerusalem on, right? Jesus rides onto Jerusalem.
It ends
But
with Palm
here's-
Sunday.
No, it ends on Palm Sunday, yes, but it doesn't end with Palm Sunday. The season ends with them outside the city. He has a moment with his mom, Mary. He has a moment with the disciples. He has a moment with himself, and then he gives a little speech where he basically says, no matter what happens, no matter what you don't understand, anything that happens over the next week, I just want you all to know I love you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and then he gets on the donkey and we do slow motion riding toward the city where you could see the city in the distance, right? That's how the
Okay.
season ends. All right. And it
so-
showed all the people buying and picking in the palms because they all got word that Jesus is coming. So we see the
That's
preparation in the city. We see him heading toward the city with the city in the distance. Okay.
I still don't
That's
think
how the season ends.
I still don't think the cccrucifixion's going to be in the next season.
I don't think either. I
don't
think they're going to
either.
slow way down, and this
Mhm.
week is going to be about a season and a half of events. You know what I mean?
Well,
and I think
if it is, I think it potentially could be. I think it potentially could be because there is a lot of events, especially because this show it's not about the resurrection, the crucifixion, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. Yes, it is. It's not though. It's called The Chosen for a reason. It's about the people, the disciples, the chosen people of the Christians. So I think Dallas in his mind is maybe potentially the next season could be that. Could be the crucifixion of Jesus.
Having seen the season, I have a better theory.
So that the next two seasons will be more of the resurrection and beginning of the first church as a Christian follower standpoint.
I have a better theory.
Okay.
Because this is The Chosen, I think it's going to be hard to sell a full or multiple seasons without Jesus being present, right? And I think they know that. This is my prediction. We're going through the whole week. At the end of season 5, he's going to get arrested. All right?
Yeah. That's what I think.
Season 6 is going to be death, burial, resurrection, and then the events that happen after that. Okay?
So 7 will be the rest.
7 he'll at the end of season 6, he'll either ascend or he's going to ascend close to the beginning of season 7, and then the rest of the season is going to be the repercussions of what happens to the disciples after, right?
Yeah.
So I think season 7 we will see almost no Jesus or a very little of him, and I think they're slowing way down. Season 5 will probably end, in my guess, with him getting arrested. That's what I think.
So I have some thoughts and non-show related or news around the show. With it released and everything, I did not watch the video. I will clarify this. So I do not know what's in the video, but I saw a title and thumbnail of it. Showed a picture of the actor who left, one of the disciples, whichever one it was. I can't remember exactly which disciple left the actor. And the title was Yahshua is no longer with the Chosen.
Yeah.
Was the title of the video. Do you think that the Chosen has gotten so big and so mainstream that it has become too Hollywoodized. With, last season we had a lot of controversy with, gay people working on it or this or that. And would you disagree with that? I did not watch the video. I don't know what's in it, but that's just what I saw.
Absolutely not.
No?
So I think when it comes to people working on the show, you pick the best people who's going to give you quality work.
Yeah.
If they have a pride flag, a little tiny pride flag on their personal equipment, whatever, they are a hired contractor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they are like, I'm fine with filming or doing lighting or camera work or whatever for a show about Jesus, that's inconsequential. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they've had that the whole time. It has not just been the recent. It's been the whole time. The whole time. Season 1, Dallas said, we hired a bunch of people that's worked in Hollywood that are not Christians, but they are wanting to work on the show. It absolutely is not a part of Hollywood. It's barely now not even a part of Angel Studios. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
They're
Which
now
they
with
had a
Come
lot
and
of
See and
controversy
The
around
Chosen
that,
by
but-
themselves. So they're detached from big studios. They're as solo as it gets when it comes to production. And no, I think that literally Dallas posted on Instagram. They went to like a retreat cabin, him and a couple guys that work on the show, I think probably out in Colorado or somewhere, for a weekend to start fleshing out the content for season 6 and 7. Right?
Well,
So
we
they
gotta
did
have
like
five
a
first.
strategy
already got
retreat. They're filming 5. They are starting production like this week on 5. So they already have 5 written.
I think it would be a little, poetic for them for it to be 7 seasons.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It is 7 seasons.
Yeah, number of perfection.
So
he said that the whole time. 7 seasons.
Has he really?
Yeah, that's been from the beginning.
Okay,
They were like,
cool.
if we get enough money, we're shooting for 7 seasons. So yeah,
right now, Dallas is either wrapping up or he's in production right now for the worst. I want to get this right. The worst ever Christmas Carol made or something like that. I could
something
be wrong.
like that. Yeah.
Dallas Jenkins. There was a book that his family grew up reading, and he always loved reading to his kids, that he's directing a movie for Lionsgate.
He already directed it. They're in post-production, or they're wrapping up post-production.
They're wrapping up production. It seems like, I think it was February, March is when production was going to be for that movie. So it's going to be post-production.
It was they filmed it in December.
No.
And January, I believe. Yeah.
It was, no, I know this for sure. It was February for sure, going into March.
Okay,
and
get to the point though.
They're going to be going, and it's going to be Lionsgate's Christmas movie for next year that Dallas is doing. He's doing it for Lionsgate, and he has been working on that, kind of taking a break from the Chosen stuff, even though it's coming out. But Dallas has definitely got a full plate right now, so we'll see what happens the next season.
I don't think he's going to sacrifice any quality.
No, I don't think so either. I think he said he's not doing any projects besides The Chosen, except there was only one thing that he would sacrifice leaving The Chosen a little bit for, and it was for this one movie that he got the rights to.
Well, it wasn't for the movie. No, it was a passion project that he did they filmed it in like 2 months. Like it was a very quick thing in between the seasons over the holidays. That's what happened. So he's literally finishing up post-production on it now so that it's done when they're entering season 5. So
speaking of new projects, what you got for us on this first segment, Joshua?
Joshua, you called me, you full named me. I don't know
full
why.
name.
That's weird.
I like
so it looks like, Dune's being successful. So we'll get another one.
It looks like Dune's been successful. I swear, Joshua's disbelief in Dune is the most irking thing ever, because Dune is
I mean,
100% probably the film of the year. It came out in March, and Josh was just doubting it. He's like, but 6 out of 10.
I think people like it that much.
Like that.
I don't think, it's not the film of the year, I would say, but
True. So far, it's the film of the year.
I don't think there's anything slated that's going to come close.
I think, I'm waiting for the next,
Good grief, Joshua. Get to the point of this,
out.
please.
I don't have a point. You introduce it. Why am I introducing it? I mean,
you're the captain. You said this. At the beginning, you said this.
Okay, no.
Joe said it. Joe said, I'm the captain. And you're like, no, I'm the captain now of this podcast.
So
this one.
Vinny, it looks like he's in. They're in talks to. Okay.
Keep going.
They're in production to get everything set up for the third Dune movie, Messiah. And they also, he specifically, the director, Vinny, is, am I saying his name wrong?
It's Denis.
Denis.
Vinny, it's Denis?
It's not Vinny.
It's Vinny.
Directed Dune over here.
Vinny. As a 1% Italian man,
no, he's French. It's Denis.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis is also in production for Nuclear War.
Okay, so you get that kind of correct. So he's not in production for anything except Dune Messiah right now. And they're in very early stages. So Denis Villeneuve in talks for film based on nonfiction book Nuclear War. He's also been in the process. So down here talks about how they're in the working. They've begun probably the writing process, the development for Dune Messiah. Yeah. And he's also had a project he's trying to been on for a while for Cleopatra, right?
But I think
he's definitely coming back for the next one. You think Mr. Fraser is going to be coming back for the next one also?
Mr. Fraser?
Greg
Fraser? Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I think
Greg said in an interview. Greg said in an interview that if Denis asks him on any project, he'll say yes.
And we know Hans is he's coming up with music. He was coming up with music at the end of the first Dune. He was coming up with music for the second one. He was still sending Denis stuff, and he was like, "We finished the movie. Why are you still sending me music stuff?" And he's like, "This is for the next movie."
So Legendary, who's been doing all this, it's a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, right? So the company has optioned Nuclear War scenario, which hit shelves last month and examines the nuclear military establishment, which is very strange. This is a brand new book, right?
Yeah.
So I think what's happening is, I think this also kind of touches on it. I think the interest around Oppenheimer, right? And the nature of warfare and the politics and the development and the danger, kind of like that reflective nature of the people who work around these mass weapons of murder, weapons. Weapons of mass destruction. I think there's an interesting culture around this, or at least I don't know if there actually is. Honestly, I think I think Oppenheimer's successful because of Chris Nolan. But Denis Villeneuve is a good director, so I think they're thinking in the right direction to pursue him to direct something like this. However, they're wrong in just assuming, oh, this is a book about nuclear war. Then Oppenheimer was successful. That was based on the book. What was that? What was the one that he adapted the book for Oppenheimer? It was based on. I'll come up with it later. So the Oppenheimer was a screenplay adaptation of a book also about Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah. So we're touching on two different things here. We're touching on Dune 3, Messiah, and then
Cleopatra.
Yes, Nuclear War, also directed by Vinny.
Not for sure
Vinny.
yet.
Not for sure, but Denis. Thank you.
So
We're
here's the
talking about two
question.
different things. I don't want people to be confused.
Yeah, so I think what he was saying was in the announcement for this nuclear war book, he was saying he's going to be doing it after he finishes Dune 3.
Yeah.
It would be coming out after Dune 3. Is that
I
what he
am
was
pretty
saying?
sure. Look, I am pretty sure Denis Villeneuve has not confirmed or denied anything to be a part of this project.
Well, that was the announcement. That's
It's
what he was
nuclear war.
saying.
It's not
Denis
Where
for
he was
Villeneuve
Dune,
in
but
talk.
Dune was
Go
like,
down to
in
his
talks.
go down to what he says. He says something. There's got to be a quote from him.
I have four projects currently on the table.
Okay.
Villeneuve said in an interview that was published last month, one of them is a secret project I cannot talk about right now, but that needs to see the light of day quite quickly. So it would be a good idea to do something in between projects before tackling Dune, Messiah, and Cleopatra. All these projects are still being written, so we'll see where they go, but I have no control over that. He is saying it might be a good idea to do something like this. He's not saying yes or no. That's the point. He is in talks. We
He's
have
in
no
talks for the
confirmation for this.
nonfiction book Nuclear, but he is writing Dune 3.
Dune 3.
Yeah, he's 100% on Dune 3.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to get people confused, but Cleopatra has been on the table for years now. I mean, if it's the Cleopatra we've been talking about,
anything to get that horrible taste out of our mouth with the Netflix version, right?
Yeah, it's been on the table for a minute now, but I think he's definitely got a lot of projects, and that's understandable with a good director like Denis. And so I'm just looking forward to Dune 3, even though it's not that popular of a movie and not really anybody cares about it, but
it's not that good.
I think it'll be interesting to see a third one. I personally, we're planning on probably doing a midnight special, or we're not starting the midnight special again, but we want to do something for the Patreon talking about Dune, where we just come out with a video talking about Dune, a spoiler review talking about all the ins and outs. We've already kind of discussed this.
We were having a
video
discussion
with John Mark. John Mark's probably going to join us for the Patreon supporters. Yeah. So if you're interested in that,
you didn't tell me this.
Subscribe.
Well, it was kind of impromptu. We were having a discussion about Dune, and Josh was like, "We need to just have this on an
recording
on
a hot mic."
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in that, we're probably going to maybe touch and do something this week for that on the memberships and Patreon. I'm just plugging that a little bit. But I personally have said for the movie that just came out, the second one, part 2, I think they had a lot of desert stuff, and then they really quickly ended it where the second half where they took over and all that. So it will be fun to have another Dune movie where they kind of go into the relationship of everybody after the fact, if that makes sense.
And John Mark was saying there's a lot of things that they missed out on in the movie. A lot of things regarding the Kwisatz Haderach, a lot of things regarding the life cycle of the worms and the Spacing Guild. Those were kind of the big 3 things that we didn't see the Spacing Guild at all, but they're very important. And John Mark thinks that Denis hopefully going to address a couple more of those things heavily. If he does it in the third movie, I think it'll kind of retroactively make those decisions that, better. Those things that aren't in the second movie. If he addresses like the Spacing Guild, especially, and the life cycle of the worms and the spice, a lot more of the spice needed to be in the movie. And so I think if he hits those things, especially the Spacing Guild, if he hits those things in the third movie, it'll be a really well-rounded, fleshed out trilogy.
Okay, well, think about this. So Denis Villeneuve is talking about things when they become important. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's bringing it up when it's important, and we already know his direction for the story, and it is to tell. It's basically to be as true to what he believes Frank Herbert meant by telling the story of Paul Atreides. So what
Mm-hmm.
he's
Yeah.
doing is he's trying to tell the story of Paul Atreides in a way that the end result matches the vision that Frank Herbert had for that character, which
Yeah.
is very important. Dune Messiah will be able to elaborate on even more because the point of Dune Messiah when it was written was because people liked Paul too much coming out of Dune, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't supposed to. So I think if you think about it honestly and you just see the story that he's told, he has definitely edited some of the books. But if you're telling the story of Paul Atreides, you don't really need the Spacing Guild right now. You
No,
you
but
don't
going
need.
into interplanetary warfare, which is what he has set up,
You
you
will.
definitely need them.
Which that's what I'm saying. He breaks it. He comes into it when it becomes important,
Mm-hmm.
And when Paul is interacting with the Spacing Guild, when he's interacting with planetary warfare, when he's interacting with a whole bunch of stuff off Dune planet,
Mm.
that's when it becomes really important.
Yeah.
And so he's going to 100% he'll bring that up. That's going to be a big part of Dune Messiah. In the same way that like we didn't introduce Princess Irulan and the Emperor in the first movie because from Paul's perspective, he doesn't come face to face with them.
Yeah.
All they do is allude to him, and all they do is say he put something in motion, but it's not important right now to have screen time for them. It becomes important for Dune
Yeah,
Part 2.
which is good. Which I'm kind of happy with the way that he does things like that.
Mhm.
And I think it'll make. I'm really hoping the third movie, because he said I don't want to make a third movie unless it's going to be better than the second movie.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I'm really glad that he's striving for.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it's going to knock Dune Messiah out of the park. I'm interested to see Cleopatra if he ever gets that made. I'm very interested to see what he would do with something like Nuclear War. I don't
Yeah.
know the story of the book of Nuclear War, but just the fact that like it just hit shelves, it must be pretty popular.
mm,
And so they're like, obviously they're going to want to pursue someone who is, the hot director right now.
right.
And the hot directors is Christopher Nolan, which you can't buy him. He's going to write his own story and direct it. You can't.
Mhm.
It's very hard to pitch Chris Nolan something to do, right?
Mm.
I think he's going to do exactly what he wants to. Denis Villeneuve, however, would be like, I might take your idea, but I'm going to have to filter it through my creative vision for it. And he's a part of the writing process. He doesn't take someone's screenplay and make a film out of that, right?
Yeah.
He's adapting the books to screenplay. He's working on all this. So I think it makes sense to try to pitch him more stuff. And then also the Secret Project. He seems pretty passionate about the Secret Project that he's working on or is going to be working on. Curious to see what that. If it's something like Prisoners, where it's kind of like lower budget indie kind of dark thing, that'd be crazy.
I think if he's being secretive about it, it's kind of
It's definitely
he's
not
going to be.
huge.
You don't
Right?
think it's going to be huge?
I don't think if you can't keep something big secret. You can't keep Blade Runner and Dune a secret. You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say if he's trying to keep it a secret or he's not talking about it, it's something that people know of. Like, it's a story that people already know and it's not an original, because if he was just like, oh yeah, I'm making a story about, a cop that, or no, if I'm making a story about a dad who's trying to find his daughter who got kidnapped, then we'd be like, oh, that sounds fun, but we wouldn't really care. Besides the fact that he wants to keep it kind of quiet, it sounds.
Yeah, whereas if he was working on like a sequel to The
huge
Fifth
project.
Element or something.
Yes, he would be like, I can't talk about it
Hush,
because
hush.
it's a big project.
Mhm.
Well,
I
mean,
don't know.
we'll see.
I think he probably, with the big projects that are in his current
Mhm.
peripheral and people throwing more big projects at him, I think he probably wants to do something small as a palate cleanser a little bit. You know what I mean?
I mean, probably. I mean,
Could be. Could be.
Could be. Either way, we're gonna get Dune Messiah at some point. Yeah,
Thank goodness.
I think you can't back out of it now,
Mm.
Denis.
I think
You
people
can't.
want to see it. Too many
Yeah.
people want to see it.
some people, I mean, at least 2 people, 3 people here.
Me and you, me and Joe.
Well, yeah, I
At
was
the
gonna
very
say you and Joe, 2 people, but I'm with you guys in saying I want to see it. So, you know,
Mhm.
if it only be to make more YouTube content about it, then I mean, I personally don't really care, but
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Josh was like, "I'm just in it for the money."
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I do think it would be
Not in it
really
for the love of the
cool. I
game.
do think it would be really cool to have Lord of the Rings as kind of the definitive book adaptation for high fantasy, and then Dune
Yeah.
is kind of the definitive book adaptation for high concept sci-fi. That's
Yeah.
that's an awesome duo.
Awesome
think-
duo.
2
And
trilogies,
it makes
different genres.
and it takes Denis Villeneuve into legendary director status,
Yeah.
which I don't
Yeah,
know if
because
he's
even
asking
Peter
for that,
Jackson,
but he's doing
even
something.
Peter Jackson, who's not like working on anything right now, I don't think, and hasn't had a ton of other projects that he's made.
He's
is
done stuff. They just haven't hit.
he exists?
Yeah,
he still exists on. He still has that legendary status.
He
Well,
will
doesn't
always
he-
have that legendary.
Isn't
status.
he doing some Weta stuff? Like it's his company.
No, he's not doing Weta. He's a director. He's not an animator.
Well, but he's not an
He
animator, but
owns,
he's got
he owns a part of it.
his day
Let
to
me
day
see.
Weta. You know, he might do some Weta stuff. I don't know. What?
All right,
what-
let's do an impromptu check to see on his IMDb, see what he's working on. Okay.
Real quick, we got a bunch more.
yeah, we do have a lot of
Look,
segments.
you guys,
today.
don't rush me. Freaking don't rush me. You're gonna make me nervous, and I won't be able to podcast. All right. So Peter Jackson.
Come on, quick. Come on.
So back in 2022, he did a documentary on the Beatles.
Faster.
The Beatles
Oh,
now
yes,
and
he
then
did do the
came out with
Beatles
another
thing.
part. He's got an untitled third Titan film and an untitled adventure. Oh, Tintin, not Titan, Tintin. So
Wait, a
he's doing-
second Adventures of Tintin?
Yeah, you remember the animated?
Yeah,
Adventures of
I
Tintin
really
he did?
enjoyed that.
Was
That
there
was a
a
really
second Tintin movie?
So
well.
he did the
It's a
first
book,
Tintin.
Wyatt. It's their
Oh.
books. They're. I would say kids. I don't know if a teen would be the right
No,
word. It's-
adults. It's meant for young teens. But
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
watch the movie, you're like, this is kind of fun. This
This
is
is
also
fun, yeah.
hilarious, right?
It's like it's a book series of this.
Right. I know it was.
I
an
thought he
old
was a kid,
cartoon
but
as
no, he's
well.
like a guy in his 20s that's kind of a detective. I would say he's like a detective.
Um,
So yeah,
so
it's a
you-
book series.
Mortal Engines is the big movie. He was a
Mortal
producer, and I
Engines,
think he directed also.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back
Um,
in
that one.
2020.
No, director by Christian
Well,
Rivers.
he was a writer on it.
He was a writer and a producer.
I
Probably
need to watch
executive.
this. I've heard it's
heard
not
it-
good.
Yeah, I heard it was bad.
That's
why I didn't watch it.
2020?
Yeah.
Mortal Engines came out in 2018.
28.
So
wow, it's been a minute.
he'd been working on his Beatles
Well, he's been working
documentary
on
for
stuff.
years.
I thought it
Uh,
was sooner than that.
The Beatles Get Back is the thing, and now he's going back to Tintin for a sequel. All right,
Yeah. I
So
enjoyed
that's a
Tintin.
check in on Peter
I'm happy
Jackson.
with that. I'm happy with Tintin.
It's
Although
an
I'm-
okay move. It's an okay move. I think.
I don't care for sequels because I think they're hacks. This is okay because it's it's like detective. You can always have a new thing to investigate.
A new thing to solve.
Yeah, it's not like you're doing a hacky. Oh, let's recheck in with these characters.
Mhm.
It's fun, but so we have new members on the
Yeah. So Danita Barry.
Yeah.
Donita Barry, thank you so much for becoming. It says Patreon here. We didn't update that. She's not a Patreon member. She
She's
is a
YouTube member.
YouTube member. All right. Sorry that it says Patreon.
We'll have to make a new slide.
Yeah, she supports us on YouTube memberships, which actually is the exact same content you get on Patreon. So you could choose your platform, and it's the same price and everything. So she supports us over on YouTube memberships. Danita Barry, thank you so much for choosing to support us. It means a whole lot. And she gets cool stuff like early access to podcasts, like 5 days, almost a week early access to podcast episodes. She gets our exclusive pre-show podcast. She also gets her name in the credits of videos and podcasts, as well as personal shout outs occasionally on episodes. So there, and also like if you go to YouTube specifically, you get little stickers for the live stream chat, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, Patreon doesn't have that.
And you know what? She's probably watching this podcast while she's drinking her morning coffee, because guess what? She can have both.
You can have both.
It's so cheap,
and support us, because it's only $3.99, $4.
Yes, so she doesn't have to skip her coffee because they're both so affordable. Everyone always says you got to for the cost of a cup of coffee, you could get a membership or something. I'm like, freaking no. We're cheaper than a cup of coffee.
Both.
Do both. You could have both. And thank you, Danita. That means a whole lot to us. You're the best. So I watched this series on Netflix called Ripley. Real quick.
Yeah.
I want to just say, it's in black and white. It is one of the most interesting shows I've ever seen. You're talking about a slow burn on payoffs. It is as slow as it gets. And this is actually, I'm very curious to see the popularity of this show, because it's hearkening back to, okay, so you know how slow moving the story of like the Godfathers are, right?
Yeah.
Notch that down another level of slow moving, and we're hitting Ripley, okay?
I think if you think that the first Godfather is slow storytelling,
no.
Wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
it's awesome, intense storytelling.
It's awesome, intense storytelling. But listen, you got to check out Ripley and give me your thoughts at some point, because it is, it's basically a crime scam story. Okay.
Okay.
Very interesting cinematography, very, very engaging characters, very slow process, very slow storytelling.
Yeah.
But it is one of the most interesting. It is diverting. You know, today everyone's like, get to the point, get to the point. Everyone's attention spans is limited. Get to the point. We don't want to be bored. I will say this show has important stuff all throughout it, but I'm very curious to see if this show hits popularity or survives, because it is very slow.
Yeah, the attention span these days is it's not up to snuff. Even I was talking about the Invincible show, just like skipping through dialogue. Most of it is downtime dialogue, emotionally driven dialogue, and a lot of it in the show I've seen before. They do it a lot, and so I usually skip to the conclusion. I'm like, all right, so where did we get to? What did we land on in this conversation?
Ripley is very much a film noir style story. Crime film noir, very fat. I think if you're going to genre it, it's going to be film noir, but it's very fascinating. The way they're telling the story. I don't even know how to describe it very well, other than slow, engaging. It's really important to pay attention, because they're not necessarily showing you details about what's going to happen in the story all the time, but they are showing you details to enter the psychology of this character and understand who he is as a person, because it's kind of unfolding how he's going to respond to certain events in a deep way, and it kind of keeps you on your toes. You're like, is he smart? Is he clumsy? Is he dumb? Is he a mastermind? Or is he just kind of figuring it out as he goes along? There's a lot of elements to this that you can't, it's revealing his psychology as you go through the show, while also playing out the story. So you got to check out Ripley, get a feel for it, see if it's your thing. I think it's probably, I'm enjoying it. It's different that I've seen something in a while, you know, it's a lot different. And I think that's why I'm enjoying it. So definitely check out Ripley. I would highly recommend it, to at least just test yourself, see like what kind of, is this something I'm into? Because it's new. It's something we don't see all the time.
Yeah.
Fun.
Cool.
You know
Fun.
something we don't quite see all the time? Also,
What?
Christian Bale in the last Thor. You went straight to the slide. In the last Thor: Love and Thunder movie, we had Christian Bale sampling something different that he's not really played these type characters, but for some reason he's doing this now. He's kind of playing this dark type character. Well, he is playing Frankenstein.
What are you talking about? He played in that when he got super skinny, the dark characters. He played American Psycho.
I think we're talking more of these less of the physical transformation characters that he's always sort of gone through, and more of these a different kind of transformation,
Prosthetic transformation,
with prosthetics and makeup, and
technically it started with Dick Cheney, right?
Things like that. Yeah.
In Vice, he was Dick Cheney. He got fat, but he had to do the bald cap and everything, right?
But I'm interested in seeing him as these kinds of characters.
And something else that's interesting and not so, exciting for me personally, because I have my qualms, but maybe you'll find this interesting of who's directing this film.
Wait, you didn't say what he's playing. He's playing Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein. I said that. Frankenstein's
monster. Christian Bale is playing the monster, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Called The Bride is what the film is going to be. But it is kind of interesting who is directing it. It is going to be Gyllenhaal. Not Jake. Maggie. The other Gyllenhaal, who we don't quite care for, or
you say we, but
I don't. I don't.
Well, let's be honest. She in The Dark Knight, she started singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow right before she died.
Did she?
Yeah, remember? Right before she blows up, she starts singing Somewhere.
Can we go to?
You gotta watch The Dark Knight again, man. That's the cringiest. That's the cringiest scene ever. I'm not a fan of Maggie Gyllenhaal. I didn't like her in Donnie Darko when she was young. I don't like her now. Her acting is atrocious.
I don't think she was singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I think you misinterpreted that scene.
Listen to that scene. Tell me she doesn't say the first two words to Somewhere Over the Rainbow in the same exact.
She's not singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, though.
All right, let's watch it.
We're going to watch it?
Rachel.
Are we not going to get claimed if we play it?
I'll edit it to where you don't see that.
Okay. I'm looking up known for acting, producing. Okay, so she's got three. Let me click on 3 directorial debuts. Okay, directing. So The Bride, The Lost Daughter, and Homemade. So an episode.
So this is her episode of a show, directorial movie.
Yeah, these are her directorial debuts. In 2020, she did 1 episode of a show called Homemade, and then The Lost Daughter, which looks like
but that doesn't count as a directorial debut. An episode doesn't count. The Lost Daughter is her first movie.
She did here. So she's done 1 film called The Lost Daughter. It was a movie back in 2021.
Okay, can I show you this?
Okay.
Let me. We gotta put a cap on this, because tell me she's not starting to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Tell me this is not. Tell me she doesn't do this, okay? Listen to this. Tell me if you can hear me.
No. Harvey, it's okay. It's all right. Listen.
No. I'm not gonna give that to you. No, it was like it's
she
like
definitely was about to start singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Somewhere something.
You made it sound like you made it sound like she was actually singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. No.
Listen to this.
No.
Harvey, it's okay.
She just says somewhere.
Somewhere.
She says some. She barely even sees.
She was singing, dude. She was about to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
She may have just been saying somewhere, sometime, we would have been together. She
No.
must
Yeah,
be
or
somewhere
like
over the rainbow.
somewhere.
Hold on. I need the internet to tell me the truth. How many people watched that and for sure thought she was about to start singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow? Because that's
I mean, I'm
I
with
watched this
you.
and that's exactly.
I'm with you. I thought the same, but no, she didn't. She didn't.
She didn't sing it because she got blew up. But was she about to sing Somewhere Over the
Maybe.
Rainbow? Yes, because it's a comfort thing. You're about to die. She was a little girl. She liked the song. You know what I mean? She didn't get to the song, though. How do you not think that's possible?
No, she was not about to sing that song.
Why is this what you're focusing on? Let's go back to Frankenstein, the bride.
We're talking about Maggie Gyllenhaal. She for sure was about to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow before she got blow up.
I don't
Yes,
care.
she
She
was.
wasn't. When this episode comes out, make a poll on YouTube
Sure.
asking people what they think.
I will. Tell me that's not the truth, dude. The internet for sure believes that she was about to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
So,
all right.
What I'm curious as to what the what Bride of Frankenstein is about. Is it going to be is the Bride movie going to be adapting that story of Bride of Frankenstein? Do we know, or is it going to be like a different kind of story?
I'm not sure. Is it a book called The Bride?
So there's a book called The Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Where I think he's like pressuring the monsters pressuring Frankenstein to make him a wife.
Right. So who's playing the bride is the question.
So
who's going to be playing
going
across
there.
from Christian Bale?
I had that pulled up.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up myself. It's just a little slow because my computer. So 2025 is when it's coming out. Next year sometime.
Okay, so
in
let's do
1930
this.
Chicago, Frankenstein asked Dr. Frankenstein to help create a
Dr.
companion. They
Euphonerus.
give a life to murdered woman
a murdered
as the
woman
bride.
as the bride, sparking romance, police interest, and radical social change. So I've honestly, so why you knew this story already? Because it's
I knew of Bride of Frankenstein.
I've never heard of the Bride of Frankenstein. Now Penelope Cruz is going to be in this also,
Ooh,
which surprising you didn't mention that. Is the Bride of Frankenstein? Okay, so the bride is played by Jessica Buckley.
Yes, Jessica.
Jesse Buckley. Jesse.
Yeah, I there's really no other details other than that sort of small snippet about what the movie's about. But a Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster is what we're focusing on here.
Yeah, I think honestly that. So, do you think from Thor: Love and Thunder when he played Gore the God Butcher, was that the best part of that movie?
Yeah.
But even then, I think he could have played the character a lot better if he had a director who was not trying to, make jokes,
Goofy it up,
and make if he had because Bale was taking the character seriously.
Wait a minute.
Very seriously.
So what you're saying is Christian Bale is a phenomenal actor, but he's always at the qualms of a bad director. So it kind of seems like this movie might not do great either.
We don't know. I haven't seen the her other movie, The Second Child, or whatever that one was called.
I will.
I don't know. I don't know if she's a bad director.
Yeah, I also will admit I have not seen anything she's directed before. I do not like her acting, but I have not seen her direct, and so maybe
Yeah, it could be good.
Maybe she can direct.
Or
Although
it could be
I
a
think a
terrible.
good director is a good actor, but we'll see. Maybe she's better at directing than acting.
I don't know. That's always true. I think Greta Gerwig was an actor before she was a director. Did you guys ever see any movies Greta Gerwig
No.
acted in?
No.
No.
But most of the I don't think most of the directors I like have never been actors.
Yeah. That's true.
I think Bradley Cooper's a really good director and a really good actor.
Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper's fantastic.
Yeah, that's I think there's cases. I think there's a case for a good actor being a good director, but I think there's also cases for the opposite.
Yeah.
And I think directors who focus on directing being their art often exceed that need to be an actor. They know how to give direction to the actors.
Yeah. I mean, would we not be questioning this at all? We would be like, "Oh, this is going to be a great movie." If Jake was doing it rather than Maggie,
No, I'd still be questioning it.
Well, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be at all.
I'd be 100%.
I wouldn't be. I would be like, yes, I accept it for everything, and I don't care if it's bad. I just accept it.
Just accept it.
I haven't seen anything
know.
that Jake has directed that.
Which I'm agreeing. I have not seen anything.
It'd be the same. It'd be the same for me. Like I like him as an actor. I don't know how his directing.
Is. No, sure. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
We just have to wait and see. I feel like all of our segments end with wait and see. We should know if this is going to be good or not. I think the performance is going to be awesome. I think Christian Bale always brings a very high level of respect and effort into all of his performances. And he tries to create a new atmosphere around them. He's probably one of the most diverse ability actors in Hollywood. Now, there are certain roles that he kind of lets his own personality kind of pop out of. Like, did you guys see The Pale Blue Eye that came out on Netflix?
Oh, yeah. With that was the what's it called? What's it?
Were they vampires or werewolf?
No. It was
the murder mystery one. I know what you're talking
about Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
About Edgar Allan Poe. And honestly, the guy who plays Edgar Allan Poe in that movie, his acting kind of outshone Christian Bale in that one for me.
Who knew that the fella who played Harry Potter's cousin was going to be such a freaking good actor when he got older?
He was really incredible. And his I don't know that at the end of that movie that I wanted to watch it again, but for his performance alone, I think I'd be willing to watch it again.
That was an example
of that movie, and it was good.
That was the example, though. It was a really good film, but that was the example of saying something he's done recently, that Christian Bale, although he's playing a character, he just seemed kind of like Christian Bale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so here's my take on this movie. It is clearly female-led, with a largely female cast and director.
The Bride? You're talking about The Bride?
The Bride. And from what we've read from the synopsis, it's going to be a female-driven movie in its content and in its story. I think there's potential for this to have a sort of, like, whether the movie is good or not, I think ultimately this movie could come out and be similar to Barbie in that what people remember is Christian Bale's performance. even though it could be a very woman-centered story with certain ideologies or whatever, ultimately I think it could be remembered for an incredible Frankenstein's monster performance from Christian Bale.
May I present something that might seem controversial, and I really don't want it to offend? Okay. Do we have examples of women
directing?
No, of a woman actor who 150%, like someone like Christian Bale, dedicates themselves to roles. Do we have a female example of that?
I'd say like Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. What has
Um,
she been in?
Glenn Close. I would say. Who's the other one I'm thinking of?
Glenn Close was on Hook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Glenn Close. Who's the lady in?
She's older now, though. Do you think
Meryl Streep as well? The Devil Wears Prada. Emily Blunt.
these are two
Yeah.
old examples?
Emily Blunt.
Well, Emily Blunt, I don't. She becomes the character, but I don't. She hasn't,
Not Emily Blunt.
fully changed her appearance.
No.
Like
No, it's not just about changing her
Christian.
appearance. You can feel a transformation in the personality to the core. You know what I mean? Where you almost cannot recognize them as a standalone person next to their character that they're acting as, right?
Mhm.
This might be a little controversial as an opinion, but because of her beauty or anything, but Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe and anything else she's been in has been pretty good. But I think
I'd say there's definitely
her.
full commitment, but I think what Joe is saying is the disassociation from the person to the character.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a female actor who is so skilled and so dedicated to the craft of acting that they can truly become a different person or have a physical transformation or do so. Like, I don't see examples of female actors who are so dedicated that a little bit of them doesn't always shine through a little bit. I'm sorry, Ana de Armas doesn't come close to that because no, because she plays emotional, she plays fun loving, and she plays nudity very well, and those are what she's three good at, right? And it doesn't matter what she does, that comes.
You think
through.
the ballerina's going to be different?
No, she's going to be stronger and she's going to fight, but it's going to be the same. It's going to feel like Ana de Armas. What I'm saying is, I don't feel like we have. Maybe there's. What about Amy Adams?
It still feels like Amy Adams.
She's played a large variety of roles. Did you guys watch Nocturnal Animals?
No.
But it still feels like Amy.
It's also
Amy
Jake
Adams.
Gyllenhaal, isn't it?
It is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Look,
Yes,
there she is.
Yeah, she is right there. That's why I was thinking about her. I don't know. Like, I just look at female actors and I think there's some level of not a lack of commitment, but less losing yourself in the role. You know what I mean? So like Johnny Depp is not losing yourself in the role with Jack Sparrow, right?
Right.
And honestly, nothing recently he's done has he lost himself in a role. But I think something like Edward Scissorhand, he kind of lost himself in the role, you know? So some of his early work, I think Johnny Depp can lose himself in the role, and where you become fully convinced that this is a different person. There's nothing that comes through. But I just don't see that as much, especially with actors across the board.
What do you think?
Kevin Hart is the same throughout everything. You know what I mean?
I think Kate Blanchett does a really good job of really diving into her roles.
Kate Blank.
Kate Blanchett, Galadriel, dude.
Yeah. Nah.
Yes.
I don't know how to spell her
What
last
about
name.
Helena Bonham Carter?
Kate Blanchett.
Because she plays the same character every time.
I don't think she plays the same.
I'm gonna be honest. I disagree with Kate Blanchett.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, she played a great Galadriel, but let's be honest, it's not that hard. You just got to be very ethereal and be very mysterious and be very beautiful, you know, and do really awesome voiceovers. That's what you got to do to be Galadriel. And Peter Jackson needs to direct you.
That is true.
Okay, so
direct you.
We throw a lot of flowers at Kate Blanchett for playing Galadriel, but one, we didn't get enough screen time with her to really get a good vibe for her, and
She's great in The Hobbit too.
She's the same in The Hobbit.
Mm,
Look,
She's great.
yeah.
She's Galadriel. She's awesome.
What
Galadriel's
other
not a
movies
hard
is she
character to
in
pull
that?
off.
What's another well-known movie that she's in that she plays?
She's in freaking her well-known videos is Lord of the Rings, Blue
Okay.
Jasmine, The Cursed Case of Benjamin Button, the Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Okay, I've not seen that movie.
She's her character in what's the movie with the little girl assassin?
Huh?
Hannah. In the movie Hannah that came
She
out a
does-
number of years
yes.
ago.
She
Her
does-
role,
Hannah.
her acting in that was really good.
But that movie was like it was well known. It just was like a one and done. Like
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
nobody watches it anymore.
yeah.
we
I
can
would
we
agree.
can move on. I'm just saying I'm not fully convinced that
I mean, I'm
some
not.
of these
for-
female actors it doesn't hold a candle to someone like Christian Bale, and a lot of
Well,
male
that's not
actors
what
don't hold a
we're
candle to Christian Bale
talking about.
either. But
Well,
I just feel like we have a
So
couple
the
examples.
idea I think is different between male actors and female actors of acting in general. And I don't know that it has to do with commitment or transformation, but it's a different. They act different. They're different people.
Or it could be a lack of courage.
No, I don't.
Courage? Is that what it is? Oh, I didn't know.
I don't think.
Courage
I don't
to
think.
truly lose yourself.
I think there have been plenty of actresses who have gotten lost in the sauce
I don't know.
when it comes to a role.
Okay,
They
who's-
should be
well,
getting lost in
there-
this. Never mind, I can't say that.
Okay, so if you go down the list of method actors, right?
I feel like let's move on.
The women on the list of method actors, we're talking about very minimal changes.
Maybe.
And then you get some of the male actors and it's huge changes. Christian Bale
Right.
being at the top of the list, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying a lot of the method acting that I see coming out of Hollywood actresses is pretty limited method acting. That's what I'm saying. Like,
But
get lost.
I think plenty of women have dived into the deep end of their characters. I think Charlize Theron does a good job
Mhm.
when she jumps into a role. It is hard when you're up against Christian Bale. I think it's also
No, you just have to you have to just be the best and do what it takes.
So Joe's stance is that women aren't as good as men as far as acting.
I mean, he did say
Maybe they're not as
That's what he's
courageous.
saying. That's what he's going
Maybe
for.
they're not as courageous. I'm not seeing examples of as much courage as we have 1, 2, maybe 3 examples of men who are very courageous with their roles in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I don't see any women hold a candle to that kind of courage.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying.
Maybe you're right. I think
Well,
I think I'm
more
right.
research is more research is required.
Let's move on to the next segment. That's Frankenstein. We'll see. So this is kind of a April Fool's joke, I guess, if you want to say that. Someone,
Okay, so you gave you killed it right at the top.
sure.
This is an April Fool's joke.
This is the
Freaking who cares? April 1st was 2 weeks ago.
oh
I'm just saying that's an example of saying
no okay.
teasing it as
So,
this is an April
Mark
Fool's
Wahlberg,
joke.
Mark Wahlberg, and Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is, he's done things like The Passion. He's done things like
Braveheart, The Patriot,
he's done a lot, yes. But I'm
Many
specifically touching
Lethal
on his
Weapon.
like religious based content is what I'm
okay.
touching on.
Yeah.
Specifically because there was this thing that came out, the non-woke film studio that is being started by Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson. And for some reason, the internet kind of latched onto it, and it was kind of an April Fool's thing. It was not real, but it kind of sparked some interest, and it made me interested in see what you guys think. Do you think these guys? I don't even know what I'm questioning here, but like these guys are the right men for the job here.
I don't know.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
personally, I don't know about Marky Mark. If let's say this were a real film studio. Number one, I wouldn't call it the non-woke film studio, although that would attract eyes to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think a name that sort of implies the same thing without the connotations of non-woke would be, there could be a better alternative.
Okay.
But I think it would definitely be something I'd be interested in seeing what sort of projects come out of it.
I have to push back a tiny bit. I don't disagree with Mark Wahlberg, maybe not being the right guy for the job here, but he's been doing a lot. He's been doing a project with Jonathan Ramey, the actor who plays Jesus on the Chosen series, doing this. I don't even know, this prayer app or whatever. He is trying to. He does have, even though he's not very vocal about it in his work, he does have kind of, I guess, let's just say a Catholic background. I'm not even sure what his
I
background
know.
is specifically, but
Mark Wahlberg is very Catholic.
Very Catholic.
Follow
Yeah.
him on Instagram and tell me he's not.
Yeah.
He does Ash Wednesday freaking every Wednesday. I don't know if it actually is every Wednesday, but he does it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so these guys are kind of, I guess, they are outspoken a little bit about their, their religious beliefs and their faith a little
Was
bit.
this something that they announced as a joke?
No, it was just something that came out on the internet.
See, I would have been more interested if it had been something they announced
Yeah.
as a joke, because it would seem like that would be a really good joke to sort of preface as like, yeah, that was a joke, but we are actually starting a
Yeah.
film studio.
All right, so espots.com I think is the initial poster of the article, and then SpaceX Fan Club posted a link to it.
Yeah,
That's what caused it to go
it was
viral.
a Twitter. It was a tweet. It's not a Twitter. It's not even a tweet at this point. It's an X post.
It's
What
a
is it?
share.
Yeah.
It's like a share thing. So I think this is an interesting phenomenon because it got a lot of attention. A lot of people thought it was real. A lot of people said, hey, good idea. Sounds awesome. I think it sounds like a good duo. I think this just speaks more to the issue that we have, is that there is a huge audience of people that don't want woke Hollywood anymore.
Yeah.
And there is no major alternative to woke Hollywood right now. And we see woke Hollywood plummeting, losing business. Everyone's turning on them. No one enjoys a majority of the big stuff that they're creating. Everyone's enjoying the little stuff that kind of the major studios are putting out but not paying close attention to, And that's what people are enjoying, but it speaks to the issue in culture. And if you go on YouTube for 5 minutes and look up the term Hollywood, go woke, gone broke, or something like that. You know what I mean? Or gone woke, go broke. You'll find few thousand videos of people detailing the issues with this.
Do you think that this kind of the success that this has seen would maybe prompt guys like this to make a studio that is of the non-woke variety?
Okay, first off, let's say this. Mel Gibson has not enough gas in his tank to do anything much these days. It takes him forever to just direct and put out a movie. You know what I mean?
He's got a lot of testosterone in those veins, though. Did you see him being huge?
Yeah, I did. I watched that On the Air movie that came out on Netflix, I think recently.
Yeah.
So I got a good look at his current physique. It's pretty impressive for his age. But I'll say, I don't think he has enough gas in his tank to really create a film studio. No, I don't think Mel Gibson's got that. He can barely make a movie. These days, it takes forever to do something like that.
And I'll be honest, the movies I've seen with Mark Wahlberg recently,
not great,
not very impressive. So no, I don't think there's anybody in Hollywood as far as actors that are religious, that are interested or have a desire to do something like this. It's going to be third party, or it's going to be a radical transformation of a current studio. It is going to be either Disney saying we're abandoning and firing a huge portion of staff and all of the current messaging, and we're doing a 180 turn, and it is still going to take them anywhere from 5 to 10 years to gain any kind of kind of goodwill. Yes, it's going to take forever for them to pivot, so it seems unlikely because they're not pivoting hard yet. Amazon, it's back and forth on them. They seem to be investing in faith-based films, so there might be a corner of Amazon Prime Video's market that might be non-woke, you might say. I keep doing this a lot in this episode.
Yeah, you do.
I need to stop quoting my face. That's what you're doing. You're putting quotes around your head.
Quotes, yeah.
And Netflix is nowhere near that. Netflix is on the woke train 150%. They started that way. They'll end that way.
I mean, maybe even 155.
Yeah. And Max is a mixed bag. It really is. But I think they're a part of Warner Brothers. They're still a woke studio. No, I don't think there's any hope for this to happen. It's all the industry has to tumble, and then studios that aren't marketed as non-woke, although that would work for some people, but it's going to be like Angel Studios. It's going to be like even Lionsgate are positioning themselves right now to be associated with non-woke brands, which is really smart, right?
I don't think it would be our traditional, Hollywood studios already, but, I think there has been the past couple of years, maybe like specifically a year, this spark in things like, I'm just going to bring up the creator, Oliver Anthony. Yeah, I know he's in music, but how popular he was just this nobody from Virginia. And how popular is he now? Because he came out with one song that people just resonated with, and they're like, oh, we like this. We're getting behind this. And I think there has been this trend on the internet lately of we're fed up a little bit. So I don't think it'd be the traditional Hollywood people, but I think there is a audience that are willing to get behind something.
Actually, so you know who is creating stuff with the non-woke branding, and it's not really working well, is the Daily Wire.
Sure.
The Daily Wire is making movies and branding it as, do you hate woke Hollywood? Watch our films because we are so not woke. We did a movie called Lady Ballers.
Well, I mean,
and we do a movie about a school shooting, but the bad guy gets killed with a good guy with a gun. You know what I mean?
It's a short movie.
It's a short movie. So it's if you start with the non-woke and you're also dabbling in politics, because the Daily Wire does that, I feel like if you're branding it as non-woke, you're kind of saying we're not creative. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you're going to put out garbage. No, there's no hope for the non-woke branding. You just put out good films and create a studio with creative people that are not interested in politically correct politics. Just tell awesome stories with that not being a factor. That's all you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on to our last segment.
Interesting points, though. Interesting points that I think it's well dissected. You can't brand it. You can't brand it that way.
It is interesting you brought up Disney earlier about the woke stuff, because again, Disney is delaying stuff because they're dying as a company. They have delayed The Mandalorian. They've delayed Toy Story 5. They've delayed the live action Moana.
Mowoa.
I don't know why. Moana. They've delayed everything, it seems like, because they can't get their act together. It's just
they can't.
more Disney dying. Do you think
This is what I want to see. I want to see someplace like Max come out with either a documentary or a based in reality narrative series that just displays the chaos, recapping chaos of what's happening internally with Disney right now. I would love to see a documentary or something on this.
And what the funny part is, all of these announcements of delaying them, that none of them are new or original things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you could argue Mandalorian is.
No, it's just
it's
Star Wars.
Star Wars,
stuff.
but it's
But it's again them they're still, it's still Mandalorian stuff, which has been established already, and it's still Star Wars stuff, which has really been established already. Nothing is a new property.
Yeah.
No new movies. That no. Who wants to see Toy Story 5? They had an excellent trilogy.
Yeah.
They had to make
three of
another
them were good.
movie.
The last one was not.
They're not. There's nothing original. So obviously, I would be pushing this stuff back too.
No,
I mean,
you would never be greenlit. Is the right answer?
It shouldn't be greenlit.
What was the last thing Disney did? And everybody, well, I guess Percy Jackson, that everybody was like kind of talking about. Percy Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
no one was talking about Percy Jackson.
People are talking about
really,
X-Men. People are talking about X-Men 97 right now.
Sure.
Which is a cartoon, but it's not. It's nothing. There's nothing.
It's not going to be a blockbuster hit. What was supposed to be the blockbuster hit that everyone was supposed to know about and talk about?
Probably Wish.
Wish. That was the last thing.
Sure.
It was in theaters.
Wish. There was the Elements movie that came out a while ago.
Wish was supposed to be the big 100-year anniversary thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that why? What's the purpose of pushing these back? I think is the question.
Probably because they're getting too many YouTube videos made about them.
I think here's my theory is they got on this wagon. They got in this wagon about 2 years ago. This is all the stuff that we want to make and all the stuff that we want to do. Yeah. They announced a lot of stuff, and now they're experiencing blowback and money loss. And they're like, we just push it back until we don't have to talk about it or think about it anymore.
I guess.
And they'll quietly cancel these projects.
Quietly.
What happened to Snow White? What happened to Rachel Zegler being Snow White?
They've quietly pushed that aside.
Is it done? We don't know. It was supposed to come out, and we've not heard anything about it. There was a lot of controversy around it, and then it just disappeared into thin air.
It's what they're doing. We talked about it last time. It's what they're doing with what Paramount's doing with Star Trek 4. They're pushing it back and occasionally giving out like some news, like, oh, look, here's this new writer on the project. They're just, they've been pushing it back and rewriting because they don't have any new ideas. Test screenings, I'm sure, are really bad. Nobody wants to work on it. And nobody with vision or creativity is making any of this stuff. So they can't make it.
So just to tell people, all of these got pushed back to 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Snow White was originally slated for March 22nd of 2024 and got moved back to March 21st of 2025. So we're not getting Snow White for another year. Maybe
we'll get it.
It should already be out.
They'll put it in the vault and then not bring it out.
What do you think was their reason for canceling? Because it definitely wasn't
all of the
strikes. It was
no. None of the they'll say the strikes, They'll say that the strikes and COVID is what's causing these things.
They're going to blame COVID for
They'll
30
blame
years.
COVID and they'll blame the strikes.
They'll say,
But-
we knew COVID shutting down, theaters for
Right.
a year, 2.5 years was going to have 50 years of
But I
repercussions.
think it's just because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I think it's 'cause they're
Clearly
You don't think it has anything to do with so they sued the Daily Wire because the
Mhm.
Daily Wire is doing a Snow White, but they have no premise behind that because it's a grim fairy tale. It's not their story, but they're hardcore going to be looking at when the Daily Wire comes out with theirs, saying like, are they copying anything that Disney did? Do you
Mhm.
think it has anything to do with behind the scenes? There's been some legal battle with Snow White.
No, I think. Are you talking specifically about pushing back Snow White?
Why they pushed it back is also because of there's legal stuff behind the scenes that
I think
they're not even
that's
talking
a possibility. That there's some legal stuff. I also think they have absolutely no confidence in the movie.
No, I don't think
Based on the
either.
internet's reaction, and the internet is pop culture. Based on pop culture's reaction to Rachel Zegler and set photos and everything, they pushed it back to kind of get it out of the people's eye, so that they can maybe release it later and maybe get people excited for it.
Yeah,
They are so look.
They're
I'm gonna be
backtracking.
honest with you. The longer you wait to pull the band-aids off, the worse it's gonna get. I can
Yeah.
promise you, in a year from now, Donald Trump will be president. Maybe. In a year from now, it is not going to be better for woke Hollywood. It is going to keep getting worse. So if you want to pull the band-aids off of everything that you invested money into and just say, let's make what we can and get out all the trash now, you got to just put it out. You can't.
I would be more confident if, instead of pushing stuff like this back, if they were like, no, we're canceling it and we're starting over with new stuff.
Right. Maybe that might be the right move also, because we know it's probably garbage.
Square one. They need to have a square one announcement. We're going back to the drawing board.
I mean,
for everything. And maybe that gives, Toy Story 5, The Mandalorian, and Moana a chance for them to go back to the drawing board. But if that's actually their intentions, because here's the thing, Nelson Peltz is the guy that's
vying for the
board seat. He has an uncomfortable, for Bob Iger and everybody there, he has an uncomfortable amount of support. And this thing just keeps getting worse and worse looking, right?
Right. So
I'm not saying anything's going to come of it necessarily, but it's really caused a stir at Disney. And he has more support than they ever anticipated as far as his
it would be the craziest article announcement that would happen. Just imagine Disney buys Mr. Beast's YouTube channel and tries to just like fully just like flip it and go to YouTube and just like owns Mr. Beast's YouTube channel at this point. That would be crazy, but it would probably work for him.
I don't know that I think they would ruin it.
They wouldn't. No, no, yes, they would ruin it. I'm not saying they could do it, but that would be crazy.
Another issue that Disney has, that Bob Iger specifically has, is his succession plan. So he's said publicly he's done in 2026. Interestingly enough, that's when this stuff was delayed to.
That is true.
He's out in 2026. So everyone's talking about who's going to be the next CEO of Disney.
I might do
leaves.
Do you think I should go apply for the position?
No. You
send my resume?
Absolutely not. You would be the worst.
Me?
You did it like Dune Part 2. You would run Hollywood into the ground.
Would I?
I don't know. Well, I don't know if you could do a worse job than they're doing now.
I just gotta visit the island a couple times and then shake a few hands, and and then I'll become the new.
That's how you get into power.
How do you think? Do you think he's on the? You think he's on the flight list, the flight records?
I don't know.
Bobby,
I think he's
Rob Iver.
pretty high profile. But it's possible.
I think that was the point, right? Everybody's
Mhm.
high profile.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You said he's high profile. I don't know. It's like, that was the freaking point.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's high profile Hollywood. He seems more high profile business.
Maybe.
That was a big chunk of people that
Yeah.
he had on the flights.
Yeah, could be.
There's a
Hey,
ton of
I don't
people
know.
they don't know.
I don't know.
That have been released. The names. And Bobby Kennedy comes out and says, yeah, my name's on there. And they're like, why? And he was like, because he, back in like 2004 or something, he didn't know the guy offered him to fly him somewhere. And then, and after meeting him, he didn't like him and he never saw him again. So Bobby Kennedy doxed himself and said, yeah, I'm on the flight records. But we don't know everybody.
Yeah, I don't think flight records is proof of anything. I think you can own I think you can own private jets and everything and, shuttle important people around.
I disagree only because just think about it. I've never gotten to a car or gotten on a plane to where I don't know where it's going.
Well, no, everybody knew where it was going.
Yeah.
That maybe some of them didn't know what was
Yeah, but
gonna
that's
be
the thing.
there
I
when
think
they landed.
who's to say that the island was known about its explicit nature? That people knew about its explicit nature.
I think
This
if you
is
knew, you
becoming
knew.
something else. Let's
I mean, let's say you get a flight to a resort,
Mhm.
right? You're offered a flight to a resort by somebody who is in the biz, and you hang out at the resort. It's a nice beach and everything, and then you leave without ever knowing that something's going on behind the scenes.
But
I'm not saying that that's what's happening for everybody. I'm saying that we don't know the details of everything that's going on. And so I think it's foolish to assume that everybody is in the know.
Well, somebody wanted him dead, and I don't think it was the Clintons because everyone already knows that Bill Clinton was on those flights a bunch. So I don't think it was the Clintons that had him killed. Allegedly. Freaking. But somebody in power wanted him killed, and it was already exposed that the Clintons were bad news.
Mhm.
So why kill him when the news is already out there, right?
Right.
So somebody else in power. Maybe the guys over at BlackRock or Vanguard.
Don't talk about them, man.
Why?
Because I don't want to get assassinated.
Cause are they killing people?
I don't know.
We should look into that.
Thank you for joining this podcast. I got nothing else.
Don't talk about BlackRock. Don't take any private jets that you don't know the person very well.
Oh,
And
I was planning to later this afternoon. Maybe I should cancel that.
We all should submit emails to the Disney company.
Check under your bed for Diddy.
We all need to send emails to the Disney company recommending the next CEO. Let's lobby. Let's lobby as the Disney audience.
Donald Trump.
For the next CEO of Disney.
The new CEO of Disney. Things are going to change around here.
I was the president for 2 terms, and now I'm the CEO of Disney.
I could be a really good CEO. Nobody's better than me. Nobody knows Disney. Nobody knows creative, fun, whimsical like I do.